Hello, how are you everyone? It is Lori Hoy here.
Hi, and Dr. Fawn Schaefer.
And it's
Hump Day. Or Wellness Wednesday.
Wellness Wednesday. And, it's a lot earlier than we normally come in. We warned you last week that we were going to come in a little early because, it's Christmas time and we all have everything to do. And, not pointing you out, but I know you had some other... No, it's not a fault. It's just what happens, right? Yeah. Life happens and we have to change a little bit of what we do. But hopefully you'll either be here live or catch the replay. And we have a really important topic, I think, to talk about today.
Because last week we talked about, resolutions and goals and things like that. And we wanted you to sit down and think about, what are your real goals for the next year and what do you want to do for the next year? But, I think some of us tend to limit ourselves on what we think we can do or what we think we're capable of. And I think the biggest thing that we were here to tell you today is there's nothing wrong with dreaming big.
Yeah. No. And I mean, I remember hearing all through my life, shoot for the stars, but I never really understood what that meant. Because and I think it ends up being shoot for the stars and you might end up in the clouds, which is a lot higher than staying on the ground. Absolutely. In a sense.
Right.
So it's kind of an analogy or a metaphor, whatever. Right. I'm not in school right now. I'm not teaching about that kind of thing. Similes and metaphors.
Well, the other one that I always like to talk about is if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough.
There's a gentleman I see him on Facebook, and his hashtag is Let's Puke Together. So in other words, dream so big that when you speak of it, it almost makes you sick to your stomach thinking about it. Kind of like what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, but exactly.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You don't want to limit yourself. If you think, we talked a little bit last week too about, everybody thinks about, okay, I want this and how am I going to get it? Mm-hmm. So if you can't see how you're going to get it, you don't think about what all you could have. Don't put limits on yourself. Think about what you really want. Don't worry about how to get it. You'll figure that part out. That's the part of dreaming big. Dreaming big is, this is my dream and I'm going to focus on it and think about it and have positive vibes towards it every single day and the rest will come. That's what we're trying to tell you.
And you have to be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do.
Absolutely.
For instance, if everybody else is off on a Saturday and Sunday and you want that dream, you might be working on a Saturday and Sunday to get towards it. You have to do what other people are unwilling to do. And you have to say that to yourself. Am I willing to do that? And sometimes you have to give up some things to get there.
Absolutely.
In the long run, you'll get them back tenfold.
Right. So. And that's exactly what it's about. It's about those little tiny things. They always say don't sweat the small stuff. Well, really, you should. Because by doing the small stuff every single day, something out of it, no matter how busy your day is, if there's something little that you can do every day to help you get one step closer to your dream, you should be doing it. Those little steps add up. And that's the difference between people who stay where they are in life versus people that are just always looking to get a little bit further ahead.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about how you came to be Fresh Start Chiropractic? Because not everybody that goes into any kind of medical field always has their own practice. Sometimes they partner up with people and then they have a conglomerate of doctors together that, bear the overhead and all the expenses that goes with being in business for yourself. So could you just tell our viewers kind of like what was your dream and how did you get here?
Well, it's kind of a long, complicated story. I'll make it kind of short. I came into this profession because my uncle's a chiropractor, and I love him dearly. He's Dr. Rodney Schaefer. He's on Church Street in Lock Haven. And I went and I worked with him for the first year, and I was my own practice inside his practice, and I was just kind of getting my feet wet, trying to feel what I wanted in my life and in my profession, because a lot of chiropractors around here, a lot of them practice the same, and that's not a bad thing, but I just knew that I was kind of different than everybody else, and I was trying to figure out what exactly that was. So I went out, and then I ended up actually moving into a different office because I got a little too big for the office together to keep us together. So I went out on my own, and I still just trying to figure out what did I want. I was kind of like a big mishmash of I have no idea.
Was that scary doing that too? Going out on your own? Did it make you want to
puke a little bit? Yeah, because you lose that stability. Now you're out in your own place, and then and at the time I was married, but then the big deciding factor came. I got the big D. I got divorced, and then I really was on my own. And
Honey,
then,
we're all there.
yeah, I know. Join the club, right?
We're in the D club, so
Sometimes it's a blessing.
not the kind
in
of D that
disguise.
some people would like to have, but we'll talk about that on another broadcast. How's that?
So when I look back now, I know that was the best thing that's ever happened to me, because at that point I hadn't been focused. I was just kind of whim-whimming around and didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I went to a seminar in Las Vegas, is what I actually did.
So what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But I met one, I remember I had gone to this talk, and I had listened to the speaker, and I went to leave the speaker. As I was walking out the door, there in the corner of the room stood one of my biggest chiropractic mentors ever. Like, I didn't know him. I listened to him. He was on my iPod. I read his book. He was like, I was staring at him, and I was like, oh my God, his name's Dr. Larry Markson. But I'm sure all my chiropractic colleagues know who he is.
Look him up.
He's amazing.
Hi to Lori and hi Brandy. Thanks for watching.
He's actually really short in real life, so I was like, wow, he's shorter than I thought. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so all I said to myself that time was, I need to go say hi to this man. Like, all I wanted to do was shake his hand and say thank you for being the voice in my head, because I could have repeated his speeches like 110 times. And I shook his hand and I said, hi, Dr. Markson. I know you don't know me. I just wanted to say thank you for all of your help with our profession and with helping me. And the next thing you know, he's got me pulled into a corner telling me, how's your life? Where do you want your practice to be? What do you want to do with your life? And I'm going, you are way too big for me.
Give me a minute.
Yeah,
Right?
like, you don't want to know about little old me. Like, I just wanted to say thank you. And long story short, that's where my journey began to turn this into what it is today, because that man made me promise to come meet him the next morning, talk about wanting to puke on your shoes.
Yeah.
Just him and me sitting down in a private room, and I don't know how I didn't puke on the man. I don't know. I was like, this is just too big for me.
Tears.
So I sat down with him, and the next thing you know, like, he had me with a coach. He took me. This man does these awesome retreats called the Cabin, and I went to the Cabin. It was an island on a lake in Montana, and it was just me and 20 other people secluded on this little. It was just literally just the cabin. It was barely bigger than the island was barely bigger than that. So we were all by ourselves, no cell phones for like 4 days, and he made you sit down and figure out your dreams and what were your fears and how do you overcome them and what do you want out of life. And that is really where I say I left the old me there, and I came back with this new passion to build this practice. I don't even think she knows the story, so I'm totally telling the story.
I'm feeling so privileged that you're sharing it right now for the first time ever.
So through that man, and I've gone back to another cabin since, and the coach that is with me is very close to Dr. Markson, and Dr. Markson doesn't really do that kind of stuff anymore. But to this day, like, I owe everything that I have to him. And like, they still practice a little differently than I want to too. But the one thing that they've shown me is you can do whatever you want. Like, you are in your own head. Talking to yourself is the best way. It's depending on how you talk to yourself, good ways and negative or positive. That's how you get what you want out of life. So I'm still building. I'm still not where I really want to be. I mean, I still have high hopes and dreams, just like I know Lori does in her life. And so there's always more to come. So always stay tuned, because there's so much more that I want to do that I'm just kind of winging it. And not really winging it. I know where I want to go, but it's fun. Like, this whole process is fun.
Right. And so one of the things that I teach my students is cause and effect. So I want to, and guys, you know me as a teacher, I plan really well for that. When it comes to this, we were just talking about it before we got on. She's all playing with notes. I do totally off my cuff. But I want to talk about cause and effect. Had you not taken the initiative to go to that conference, spend the money, because sometimes you have to do that. You have to spend the money on things that you feel, oh man, this is a lot, but I really want to go and do something for me. And you go do it, and your life literally changed in that moment. In that moment. And she took the opportunity. You didn't sit back in the last row and go, oh, there he is over there. I'm so glad I saw him, and then head out the door. You also stood up, went over, and talked to this man who was your girl crush, just fangirl.
Yeah.
Chiropractic fan.
I'm his
whatever.
number one fan.
Yeah, okay. She has the fan club. I think I saw the literature outside. No, I'm just kidding. But you, and you called him your coach, which is interesting that you used that word. I mean, mentor, yes. Coach, yes. And I was just talking about this the other day on a live about Michael Jordan. I mean, I don't think and the reason I talked about him because he's like my all-time favorite basketball player. I don't even watch basketball now because he's not watching it or he's not playing it. But if he hadn't have a coach there to say, hey, what do you want? Let's do it. You're going to do this on Sunday when everybody else is at home, sleeping in, whatever it takes, he wouldn't have been, and I know I'm using a sports analogy, but he wouldn't have been the person he is today, period. Exactly. And he's much more than just a basketball player. And you are much more than just a chiropractor, too, right? That's what she does, but it doesn't define who you are as well.
Exactly.
Oh, that's such a great story. I love it.
See,
I have something a little similar, but I don't think it was that.
But now we're going to hear, because she is,
Right, so mine isn't as, I didn't go to Vegas. Well, I went to Vegas, but we're not going to talk about that. I have always wanted to be a dancer in my entire life, and you probably don't know this at all. I mean, like, in the 80s, you were probably in diapers at the time. Whatever. Anyway, MTV actually had videos. Did you know that?
I do. I remember that very slightly.
And I instantly got attached to Janet Jackson. Just watching her dance, I just loved her. Sadly, I've never gone to see her in concert because I just never took the time to do it. But maybe someday that will happen. It will happen. I'm just going to say it will. If she's still touring, I'm not even sure. But it was funny because, for whatever reason, I never said to my parents, hey, I'd like to take dance lessons. But it was something that I enjoyed doing. So every school dance, every YMCA dance, you name it, I was there. Bells on, whatever. Turned up collar, rolled up pant legs. I was there. 80s child.
Probably
okay.
Like the sideways ponytail.
Always wanted to be a dancer. I took maybe, when I was older, an adult, I took a hip-hop class in Williamsport in my 20s. And I really liked it, but I never really forced myself because in my head, I kept saying, who do you think you are? Really? You can't do that. I know this is going to be a long story, but I'm going to try and make it shorter. So fast forward, I've always loved to dance. It's something that it's just been in there. And if you know some of my closest friends, they'll tell you some very colorful stories about me dancing, but we won't go there. There was no poles or tabletops or anything. Well, maybe one wedding. But anyway, I walked into my first Zumba class at the Lock Haven YMCA, and the instructor there, her name is Gigi Dammer, and she's still teaching today. She's still doing her thing in group, and there was just something very infectious about her. And she's one of my mentors, I will say that. She is one that, no matter what day she was teaching, wherever she was, I went. So she taught at Jersey Shore, I went to see her at Jersey Shore. She taught at Williamsport YMCA, I went to see her there when I could. And 4 days a week I was doing this class, and I was downloading the music, and I was practicing in my icky basement with spider webs and everything. And, at one point I thought, maybe I could do this. Maybe this is something I could do. This could be the thing that would release that inner dancer. I wanted to be a backup dancer for Janet, but I just didn't propel myself forward to do the things that I needed to do. So that's when I actually, got enough nerve up to actually talk to her after class one day. And she's like, I think you should go get certified. So I'm like, okay, I did. Again, the self-limiting beliefs I had, I was in my 30s. I'm like, who's going to ever come to my class? Was I in my 30s? I may have been older than that. I don't know. Maybe. A little bit later in my 30s. And so I just started doing it, and I forced myself. Nerves, absolutely. Scared, want to puke my first class. Luckily, I had some of my closest friends there to catch me if I, fainted. Fast forward, like a year and a half later, I liked Zumba, but I needed something different. I just wanted something more. It wasn't, I love the music, I love the moves, but there was just something else I needed, and I happened to stumble onto YouTube. Where does everybody go when you want to learn something? YouTube. And I found this woman, this sassy woman. She looked like me in the sense of she was white. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not trying to be, but she didn't move like me, like the typical white girl. She was hip hop. She was having fun. Angela Pilar, I love coming to your class. So thank you, Angela. And her name was Lauren Fitzgerald, and she is now. She was that person. I'm like, I will never meet her. Like, she's on YouTube. She lives not near me. Kind of the same thing. And one of my good friends and I decided if she ever came to the East Coast for a master class, we were going. And so that happened, and I was the same, fangirl. Like, she knew my name. It was just one of those things that that you just feel like sometimes you just never get to do, because you say to yourself, I'm never going to do that. And never is like one of those words we just need to throw out, other than like I never want to puke again, but 'cause no one likes to do that. So I went to that first master class and had a blast, and I got to know her. She is now my coach. And so if you come to my classes, it's her choreography that I use. The woman that she was a partner with, her name was Kelsey Comer, and she's another one. I still use her choreography when she releases things, because I feel, again, there's my self-limiting belief that I still have to get over. I don't feel like I could choreograph. I just never felt like I had that knack. And there's some people that are born to do certain things like that. Like there are some people I think are just born writers, and there's nothing you can teach them. They just have it. Do you ever meet anybody like that? So anyway, that started my journey into fitness. And had I not just gone to that one master class, again, things would not have propelled me to where I am today, because I do remember within the first year of teaching Zumba, I remember saying to myself, I just really want my own place. I would love to be able to have my own place. I don't have to work for anybody. I just go, I show up, I have classes when I want. But I was the only person that would be teaching, and I'm like, how is that ever going to happen? How is that ever going to work by myself? Because first of all, when you're in the fitness industry, you have a one body, so you have to really take care of that one body. And if I'm not available, I have to find somebody that can sub for me, and that's been very difficult. So that's what propelled me into where I am today, 2 days away from having my own place. Yeah. I didn't want to get emotional, but I am. And so again, I've been talking about having my own place in my own mind for 6 years, but only out loud probably for 3. And I have someone in my life, my husband now. Yes, we're in the D Club, but I'm remarried. Who, and I don't thank him nearly enough, who wanted to help me realize that dream. So I have to owe it all to him. Part of it to him, because he's done a lot of the legwork, because I work full time and can't do all the things that you need to do. He has been willing to do what others aren't willing to do. And so, so Friday, 8 a.m. is the big day.
She's going to own her own place.
Own my own place and teach more than just dance fitness, but
and are we going to tell them where this place is and what it is?
Yes, this place is going to be in Lock Haven. So for those of you that aren't in Pennsylvania, you're just going to have to make a trip here when you come nearby or travel or whatever. Just make a point of doing it. It is going to be in the former site, or the site of the former Magic River Skateland is what that used to be called years and years ago. Yeah. And now it's called Skate Haven. And it's on Bald Eagle Street in Lock Haven. My husband has all the specs. He said 16,000 square feet, but I think he misspoke the other day. It's big. It's going to be a big place. It's not just going to be me and dance fitness. There's going to be something for everyone. We want it to be different, just like you want it to be different in the field. And there's how many chiropractors in the area?
8 or 9, 10 of us.
And they're all different. Mm-hmm. And in our area, there are, I know there's been some people making comments, and I really haven't taken them to heart, because they just don't know me.
Right.
And that's okay. And, until people get to know who you are, they're not going to know your heart. And so, one of the comments was, well, how many more fitness centers do we need? But, you got to give everybody a chance. And one word, and I if anybody ever said to you, your dream is stupid, do you think you would have propelled yourself forward to do it if you would have had somebody that you cared about?
Somebody close enough to me? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, that was a word that was used in one of these comments. And I have to tell you, 2 years ago, if I would have heard that, I probably would have thrown the whole thing right in the trash can and never pursued it. But I've done so much work on me. And I know you're like-minded in this, and we talked about daily affirmations, we've talked about meditation in other past broadcasts. But if I hadn't done that work, I don't care. But I feel like that person, unfortunately, may have had somebody use that word in her life, and I feel really sad for her, because I'm hoping that she might give herself a chance, or other people in that respect. and go after her own dreams. So,
Right.
you know, and to me, they're never too big.
And
They're never too big.
That's a very good point I want to point out too, because when I met my mentor and he, you know, when I first started my journey with him, yes, I had dreams for my practice and what I wanted to do with chiropractic and from there on out. And but the first year of that was self work, like because I myself was not comfortable with myself. I wasn't happy. I wasn't secure in my own self. I wasn't as confident as I am now. And, you know, I owe him that too, because he saw that. He saw right through everything. He's like, stop. He said, stop the bull crap.
Yeah.
Don't think about your practice first. You have to fix you. And that's where I think both of us have been on that journey. And that's why we're so adamant about everything.
And I'm still on that journey. I don't think that journey ever ends.
It never ends.
No,
She's right. Because
no.
there's always something
right.
you know, there was a little hitch in my day earlier. And I thought, you know, this is just a bump in the road. We'll get through it. And, you know, it just, I'm at a different place, because if that would have happened to me a couple years ago, I'd have been a basket case and wouldn't been able to do this broadcast today. But now we just know,
I would have made her do
you
it
gotta,
anyway.
you gotta get yourself right. You gotta get your own head right and focus on, you know, becoming a more positive person. And then you can think the big things too. That won't, nothing will stop you. But if you let those outside forces, you know, beat on you and keep you down, you're never going to get to where you want to be.
And those outside forces can be people in your life. Could be, you know, like your spouse, could be your friends, any other family member. It could be you telling you that. I mean, that's not outside, but it's still, you know, you have to truly believe. And I know that sounds woo-woo and it sounds like Pollyanna, but it is really true. Yeah. And another thing that will help to squash your dreams is if you sit back and let yourself compare others and where they are in their journey. Yeah. Because comparison steals joy. And I learned that a long time ago from my sister, who, you know, I remember doing it, or comparing myself to her. She was the firstborn. She was blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing, the smart one. You know, whatever they would say. And I don't even know if I've ever told her that, but surprise!
Now you know.
Now you know. Comparison can really just, you know, you could have compared yourself to every other chiropractor in the area and said you're never going to be, you know, have a successful practice, or whatever it is your ultimate goal is. Or I could have compared myself to every instructor out there and said I was not going to have a successful class. You know, successful classes to me aren't filled with 1,000 people, even though I love it. I mean, I would just, oh my gosh. However, a successful class is when I have somebody show up. Just somebody, because they're there for a reason. So to me, that's success. And you just, if you are comparing yourself to others' journeys, you got to stop, because you are uniquely you. You're imperfectly perfect just the way you are.
Absolutely.
Perfectly imperfect. Imperfectly perfect. Whatever way you want to say it.
And your journey is your own. And that to me too. I mean, that's the one thing that I know that you find what you are comfortable with and what you want out of your life. You don't listen to all those other people telling you how you should be doing it.
Right.
If it doesn't mesh with what you truly want, then you'll never get it. If you're trying to be something that you're not, or for the wrong reasons, you're not going to achieve that. So you got to find what you truly want, and that's the process we go through every day.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just.
And you have to surround yourself with people. Well, for instance, you surrounded yourself with this man who was already established, and you learned a lot from him.
Absolutely.
Does your practice mirror his? No, it's your own. I surround myself with, right here, found this woman, and it's been a wonderful relationship so far. I'm just kidding. I mean, she works on me physically, but she also helps me emotionally as well, because we have things that are alike, and not that I don't have things alike with other people in my life, but it's different. When we're passionate about this type of thing, there are a lot of naysayers out there, because it's hard to want to say, I want to do this for me.
Right.
Absolutely. And and I think wanting to get healthy, because that's what we are in that field. I'm just going to say it that way. It's very personal. A journey to get healthy is very personal, and I think that's what makes a lot of people stand back. But if you surround yourself with people that want similar things as you, it doesn't have to be about fitness or nutrition. If you want to be a chiropractor, if you want to be a famous artist, if you want to be a singer, you have to surround yourself with people that know what they're doing and learn from them. And don't just say, I want, and not copy them either. You have to be uniquely you.
Right. And in our journeys, so I know that a lot of what we do and preach to people is very similar. And whether it's chiropractic, whether it's nutrition, whether it's exercise, you know, the one thing that I can tell you about both of us is that we have been there, done that. Like, we aren't some, you know, person that's never done anything that we're telling people to do just because you should do it. Like, we've lived it. We have our own stories of why we're doing what we're doing. And it's not just that I met the famous chiropractor. I mean, we all know that it's me, myself. I had to live what I preached in order to fix myself from Crohn's disease. So that was another deciding moment in my life, too. I had a choice. When I found out I was sick, well, I knew I was sick. When I found out what I had.
Yes.
I had that choice. I'm like, okay, I have been telling people how to be healthy this whole entire time, but have I really been doing it? And
you were walking the walk finally.
Yeah, that was where I think God got into my life and said, now you're going to prove it, and now you're going to do what you've been telling everybody to do, and I've done that. And again, during that time of my life, it was all about me at the moment. I was just trying to fix me, and then through that, I was able to help other people, and that's where we are coming from, because we want to help others do exactly what we've done, because we know how much it's helped our lives. So that's why we're so passionate about what we do.
Right, and if you're someone that really never has reached out to someone or helped someone, I challenge you to do it. And it can be small things. It could be this. This does it every time for me. I'm in the grocery store, and everybody in the grocery store that works there has a name tag. Use their name. I'm telling you, their faces change. Just try it. That's something small. No, you're not helping them, but you're recognizing that they matter by just saying their name. Like, hi, Alyssa, how are you today? Hi, Ashley. I hope you're doing well. Send some more pictures of that little boy of yours. Aww. He's so cute. Oh, gosh. But you will get such a sense of, it's not even satisfaction. That's not the right word. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what the word is. I don't even think I can put it.
It just makes you feel better.
It does.
Yeah.
And I mean, and there are a lot of grumpy people out there. Right? And it's sometimes hard to want to do something positive and helpful for someone that's like that, but you never know when that moment in time might change their outlook to become a different person. I remember one incident, it was last year, there was somebody that I was connected with, totally anonymous, that had a different outlook on each day. I mean, it wasn't always sunshine and roses and rainbows and unicorns. Sorry, guys. Hold on a minute. And I remember, I was trying to practice being a more positive person because I haven't always been this way.
Me either.
I used to really be pessimist about a lot of things. Or why me? The poor me, why me victim. I used to be that person. And there are moments where I still get caught up, but I now know to pause and think about what I'm saying and change it, which is a huge thing for me. But anyway, I remember it was like the fourth day in a row. It was raining, and I'm like walking into work like, oh, could, and I was like, I was going to complain, and I went, well, at least my car's getting a cleaning. All the dust is all washed off, and I didn't think anything about that statement at all. I mean, it was very, something very minimal or menial. But fast forward a month later, this person who didn't always come in with sunshine and roses said, the other day I remembered you saying that, and I thought, how interesting that she could have complained for the fact that it was raining for the fourth time in a row, the sun hadn't been shining, you name it, and it was something so kind of silly that it changed the way she thought that day. And I'm like, there you go.
Yeah,
something so, it's really not even important, but just because you said something that was more positive, and, I could have said something about the fact that we're tracking mud everywhere, but whatever. It's just the simple things, guys. It doesn't have to be grandiose either. Mm-hmm. Holding the door for someone, offering, I get a kick out of when I'm at, like, the grocery store, and I see, and it's usually an elderly person, I will admit, trying to get something off a shelf. And I'm not like, Shaquille O'Neal. I'm not tall at all. I'm average size. And I'll ask, would you like me to get that for you? Or if they're trying to choose between one product and another, I've done this before, they probably think I'm kind of silly. And I'll say, oh, you want that one? Well, why is that? Well, this one has X, Y, and Z, and it's just better for you. And then we're like, oh, thank you. Yeah. Meet me at Walmart. I'll do it for you.
Or don't.
Yeah, or don't, because you might be there for a while. Not Walmart. We'll go somewhere else. But yeah, and so yeah, I kind of took it around to another spin. But positive self-talk is huge if you want to achieve anything, any dream that you have. And they might be small dreams, but dare to dream big, guys. I had somebody on Facebook the other day said, I could never do X, Y, Z. I'm like, well, what is your dream? You got to speak it. You got to say what it is that you want. You have to write it down. You got to, put it on your mirror in the morning that you see it every day. And I was actually just listening to a book today, a new one. And I can't tell you right now the title. It's kind of a X-rated sort of, not X-rated, R-rated, sorry.
I don't know what she's
I'll put it in my Insta story because it'll go away in 24 hours. I may have already done that. But one of the things he said is you can't say words like I'm going to. Right. That implies you're going to do it later.
You're never going to get to it.
I will. I am. And I don't even know if will was one of them. But I have to go back to the book and
make it current.
Current.
Like, I am getting healthy.
Yes.
I am.
And then if that's your big goal and your big dream, what are the things that my husband and I needed to do to get to where we are going to be on Friday? And what did Dr. Fawn have to do to get to where she is now in this practice? I mean, there are stepping stones, and there are hoops, and there are valleys, and there are boulders and things you have to navigate through that process, but it really only makes you a stronger person in the end.
Absolutely. That's how, if you want your dream bad enough, you'll find your way around any speed bump or hiccup or anything. It just sets you back for a second, and then you think, okay, how can I go about doing this again a different way? Because you're...
Actually, when I buy my tank tops, so those of you that know, I have a certain company that I use, the Fitness Tea company. Send me some free stuff. Okay, I'm just sorry. That was really bad. But the one I wore today is because I knew I was going to get my what handed to me by the trainer, was the strength. Your strength is in the struggle. Absolutely. And it really happens. You don't know what you can do until you have something that you have to get through. And there's other struggles that we've had in our lives, I'm sure, and there are struggles that you're going through in your life. But if you stop and settle for that and say you're never going to get anywhere, then you're right. You're right. So dream big, guys. We have 2018 just around the corner. Yeah, how many days? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 full days away. Yeah, 5 days. And then it's a new year.
New year,
it's not about resolutions, guys. It's not about that. It's about you deciding that you're not going to be the same person you were last year. And that could be a small change, right?
Yeah. Small or big, go for it. Whatever you want to do that makes you happy, you do it.
Yeah, and you have to believe it. Yeah. You absolutely have to believe it.
And we're here to encourage you if you need it. So feel free to talk to us.
Yeah, and I even said that in my live broadcast yesterday. If you have a dream out there and you're just not quite sure where you want to start, contact us.
Absolutely.
I love to brainstorm with people. I actually am better at solving other people's problems than my own.
Me too, I think.
All right, guys, we hope you have, but we hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. It is where we are. The sun is shining, so we can get a little bit of vitamin D, although it's, 10 degrees out?
Yeah. Stick an arm out at a time, maybe. I don't know. It's freezing out there.
So anyway, have a wonderful day, guys, and we will catch you next Wednesday. And before I forget, if you have any topics, please send them to us.
Absolutely.
We would love to hear what you want to learn about, and we will do our best to research and give you what you want.
Or else we'll just wing it every Wednesday, and you'll have to listen to us ramble.
Yes, I like to ramble. I kind of do that. So
have a great day, and happy New Year next week.
Yes, Happy New Year, guys.
See ya.
Stay safe.